a new royal biography about Prince Andrew and Fergie is continuing to send shockwaves through the UK after more excerpts were published in the tabloids. And you spoke to the author, Andrew Lownie. What did he have to say about the reaction?
Right. Well, Andrew Lownie is really in the middle of the moment of so much attention, media attention in the UK over his new book. It is finally going to be released next week. This is the long-awaited book on Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, looking at their marriage, looking at some of the controversies and also a lot of stuff that's never been aired before. It has been serialised over the past week in the Daily Mail. They've been publishing excerpts from the book and it's sort of been causing a bit of a commotion. But, you know, I did speak to Andrew Lownie and I said, what's your reaction? Because I think one of the big takeaways from the early excerpts was this alleged physical altercation between Harry and his uncle, Prince Andrew. Harry came out and denied that. The Sussex camp were quick on that. They were not happy with that story being out there and they denied it. But when I spoke to Andrew Lownie, he said, again, you know, he was surprised that that was sort of what they focused on. He's always believed that, and I do believe this as well. I don't know if this has been publicly revealed yet, but there's stuff in that book that I haven't seen in the tabloids yet that's really shocking. And he believes that, well, you know, watch out, this is just the beginning. So these early excerpts are very kind of interesting and quite salacious, but it's the stuff that's going to be in the full book, especially around the finances. Big news.
Okay, watch this space.
Yeah.
Now, among the revelations in the book were allegations that Buckingham Palace buried an investigation into claims Meghan Markle bullied palace staff. Why did the report, why didn't it never see the light of day?
Yeah, well, this has sort of been an ongoing mystery now for a few years. Of course, before Harry and Meghan sat down with Oprah Winfrey, there was these reports that came out in the press about historical allegations of bullying by Meghan Markle towards staffers when she was living at Kensington Palace. She only really lived in Kensington Palace for a relatively short period between 2017 and then in 2020 they left. So realistically, that's a 3-year period. In that time, several staffers allegedly left the employment of the palace because of Meghan's behaviour. That was never substantiated. And then I guess before the Oprah Winfrey interview, it all came up again. And at that time, Buckingham Palace was feeling the pressure. This was in 2021. They launched this investigation. We were all waiting. We were like, okay, what's this investigation going to see? You know, what's it going to say? And then we never got the outcome of it.
Right.
And allegedly, according to Andrew Lownie's book, the reason that they did do that was not because Meghan didn't do anything wrong. I think it would have been frankly probably quite damning of Meghan Markle. I think the reason that it was buried was they didn't want to open the Pandora's box, because if they had this report come out saying, you know, Meghan treated her staff poorly, that would kind of open the gates for maybe the Sussex camp to say, well, look at Prince Andrew, or other staffers to speak out. And I think that they just felt, look, we've done the investigation, they did their due diligence internally, but they don't want any of the outcome to come out and they want to move on.
Isn't that interesting? Now, Prince William and Prince Harry could come face to face. This is at their cousin Peter Philip's wedding following his recent engagement. Do we know when the wedding's going to be taking place?
Yeah, well, this was sort of exciting news for the royal family last week, of course. Peter Phillips has announced his engagement to his nurse fiancée, Harriet. They've been together for quite a while. Just a great low-key couple. And in terms of a wedding date, allegedly it's a spring wedding. So potentially we could see William and Harry coming face-to-face sooner rather than later.
Wow.
The last time they were actually face-to-face was for their uncle Robert Fellowes' funeral. So that was also in a kind of church setting. So they'll be back in a church together, possibly within months. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, especially when we talk about things like the Invictus Games in 2027, obviously that's still quite a while away, but I think we could be seeing them together within months.
Okay, and Prince William and Princess Catherine are reportedly planning to leave their home, Adelaide Cottage, for Fort Belvedere, but why are some royal family members convinced that this house is cursed?
Right, well, we were talking about Fort Belvedere as a possible new family home for the Wales family, and it sounds great, you know, on paper. It's a huge property. It's very secure. We know security is very important. It has space for tennis courts and it has sort of all the facilities that you could ever want. But supposedly, you know, the royal family, the Windsor family are quite superstitious, and supposedly certain members of the royal family do not like that property because the association, infamously in 1936, when King Edward abdicated for Wallis Simpson, he abdicated at Fort Belvedere. So it has a kind of like historical significance that is not necessarily a good memory, especially for the Queen Mother. So Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, she reportedly was not keen on ever visiting Fort Belvedere. Even when she had friends staying there, she kind of avoided it because I think it just brought back bad memories. So I think for William and Kate, if they do move there, they need to get the sage, they need to sort of cleanse it. But yeah, interesting, watch this space.
Absolutely. Reilly Sullivan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.